Howdy folks, today I have for you the biggest and most important of all the changes and patch notes in No Man's Sky Next, aka patch 1.5. I won't go through everything because it would be a 40-minute long video at least. These patch notes are absolutely huge, but I've gone through everything more than a few times and focused on the changes you really need to know about. So let's get started. Multiplayer has been added finally, and I really like how it's been added for the most part. When you start the game, the first screen is now a 2-option menu. You can either play the game normally or you can join another person's game. If you choose to join another's game, you get a list of your friends on whichever platform you're playing on who are playing No Man's Sky and either choose to join one of their games if they have less than 4 people already in their party, or join a random player's game. I've not been able to find a setting that prevents another joining your game, but considering only those on your friends list are allowed to specifically choose yours, you should probably ask a friend before joining his or her game, though the random traveller option is a strange one. Community engagement is another game changer, with weekly content and community events being added. These events will, of course, be completely free to all players and involve special missions, likely for teams. After doing some team mission fun on the launch day stream, I can confirm that the fun attribute has been maxed. These missions and such will reward special stuff, including customizations. Which brings me to the next thing. Not only do we have avatars, but we have highly customizable avatars. Oh yes, you can pick your race from Anomaly, Gek, Vy'keen, Korvax or Traveller, and then proceed to choose your head, torso, armour, gloves, legs, boots and backpack. Each of those options has various base models which you can then colour to your liking. Base building is another absolutely huge aspect of this update, and sure, we had base building before, but now not only can we build anywhere on a planet's surface, we can also have multiple bases each, multiple bases on a planet and therefore system, with different owners. You can build with your friends, you can build far greater than ever before with a hugely increased complexity limit. Expect some serious and comprehensive guides on base building in the very near future. After all, it's like my thing. Third-person view is now a thing, and I tried it right away. It's actually pretty awesome and doesn't take long to get used to. It also doesn't really hinder you when aiming either, not by much at least, and the best thing is that you can quickly toggle it via action menu. Go to the config icon and toggle to your heart's content. Third and first person can be chosen now for on foot, in ship and exocraft. Freighter fleets. Yes, freighter fleets. If you are bringing your save over from before the patch and you had a freighter, it is now your capital freighter in which you will lead your fleet. If you don't have a freighter to bring over or are starting a new game, you'll get a free capital freighter. One of our group, Sparrow, was given a 33-slot A-class Dreadnought capital freighter for free upon bringing over his freighterless save. With that bad boy, you can then buy all those small freighters you often see warping with other fleets to be added to your own. These freighters include those we saw pop up in the ARG and have some amazing new designs. Once you buy one or many, they will automatically warp in with your capital freighter as you summon it. They can be individually boarded, though for some reason it appears that only the owner can board, but I think this is a bug. Upon boarding, depending on the frigate's stats, you may be offered some resources or other such items it has gathered in your absence. My frigate that was high in the industrial attribute gave me 100 pure ferrite as I landed. You can also send these frigates out on missions to gain greater rewards. In all honesty, the part that took me a little were the views from the outer walkways, ringed planets, my absolutely humongous Capital Destroyer class freighter below, and another planet below that. It was quite honestly breathtaking. This game has an outstanding aesthetic. Crafting has been almost completely overhauled, as have resources. The craftable trade goods like the stasis device and fusion igniters have been reworked a little, but the blueprints are still there, along with their underprints. But the base resources are almost entirely different. Some have had their names and tooltips changed, while others appear to be gone. Almost every single tech blueprint you had is now gone. Any tech you had built is now a placeholder called obsolete tech. This is likely to be the most controversial move, as it has rendered a huge amount of work by loyal players preparing for the update a largely wasted effort. The base units for most tech remains, but their upgrades have been stripped and new tech is now available in numerous different and interesting ways that I'll be covering very soon. It is kind of a crushing blow to long-standing players of No Man's Sky that worked hard to obtain all those blueprints. I personally warped to over 100 different systems in the pursuit of just a single one of them, but the trade-off of this new system in my eyes is worth it. Blueprints in some cases are now procedural, meaning that you can get a completely unique tech blueprint. That alone is just very, very cool. I'll be testing the living hell out of this system. The analysis visor has been overhauled and now gives far greater use. You can scan fauna and flora as before for some units and discovery goodness, but you can also now see the resources around you more easily, as well as locate hidden buried artifacts which contain super useful stuff. Waypoints can now be locked on to provide an easier experience in traversing to them. The beginning of the game has expectedly been overhauled. Overhaul appears to be our word of the day. With a complete new beginning to a fresh save, it will walk you through many of the new features, including the base building and such. So with such a huge change to the game, a fresh start might be a good idea if you have a save slot free. Dramatically improved visuals is mentioned in the notes, and they didn't fail to deliver. The terrain is far more detailed and varied, with planets having a far more natural terrain generation, instead of before where you'd have a bunch of similarly shaped ponds, lakes or oceans every so often. You now have unique oceans, varied sizing and continental shapes. A hill is no longer just a smooth bit of terrain, it has divots, and rocks have a more rough and detailed structure. Ships have had a massive amount of detail added, as well as wear and tear shown via worn paint and grime. Asteroid fields are far denser and contain a greater variety of resources. Planets now look amazing from space and actually like what they do on the surface. You see an ocean from space, you'll have that ocean there. Clouds look amazing, well, most of the time. There are certainly some bugs with the clouds, but I have faith they'll be ironed out in the coming weeks. The UI has been overhauled too, but not in such a way that it will be confusing. It's simple, informative and unintrusive. The build menus and quick menus have been streamlined with greater functionality. You can finally split stacks of resources in your inventory by picking them up and then dropping the desired amount from the stack. Space stations are a big enough subject for a video of their own, which is what you'll get rather soon, but for the moment, they have been changed in a big way and for the better. They now have a huge marketplace with multiple vendors and helpful folk providing you with blueprints and modules for sale on nanites. You can also customise your appearance here. It's free too, which is nice. The classic trade terminal and band of friendly aliens are still there too. Loads of stuff to do in stations now. Also, while we're on this subject, nanites are now a fully fledged currency and do not take up your inventory space. Instead, they are tallied up by your unit count along with the interesting new currency, Quicksilver. What our friendly neighbourhood Nothgo said, if you have any nanite clusters still in your various inventories, just leave them in your exosuit, save and completely shut down your game. Then when you load back in, they should have been added to your currency tally with the rest. It's just a bug that they weren't added initially. Also, space stations are no longer guaranteed to be present in each system. Some systems are now completely abandoned. This is just a frankly badass addition. There has always been a thought of why the entire galaxy has already been completely discovered. You go to a system, it says you are the first to ever arrive, and bam, space station and lots of buildings on the planet. This is now no longer the case and makes for a very exciting and immersive experience of entering a completely wild and empty system. Buried ruins are now a thing which you can uncover with your terrain manipulator for some bitchin' ass treasure. Xenomorphs, dang it, Xenomorphs are in the game, and let me tell you, they hit like a truck. They will dart at you with some impressive speed and can be a real issue when they come at you in great numbers. But where there is danger, there is also treasure. By breaking the egg like capsules, you will incur their wrath, but also uncover a very valuable egg, so be sure to pick them up. Music is another big thing. Some amazing new music has been added. It seemed difficult to beat the original, but that opening track is truly something to listen to. Paul Weir has composed some breathtaking piano work. Really, be sure to chill and appreciate it when you first log in. Gestures have been added, and I, upon hearing about them, didn't really think anything of it. I mean, it's just an emote, but it is very fun and allows for some great immersive photos such as this, as well as some hilarious photos such as this. There aren't a huge amount of gesture animations, but there is certainly enough to add some silly fun to your travels with friends. Real-time missions, scheduled missions, multiplayer missions, missions, and they are actually pretty awesome, especially with the multiplayer missions. As I said before regarding the Xenomorphs, our party of 4 all joined this mission to murder them horribly for some nanites, and it was a lot of fun taking on the waves of Xenomorphs appearing at an alarming rate from eggs. We took control of the situation and murdered them all horribly. It was great. So fun in fact that we then decided to take on the Sentinels and their new armoured variants. As you see now, a Sentinel drone floating about a planet isn't all that. He'll go down fairly easily, but his buddies won't take as long as before to give him aid. They will also now come with armour, and that armour is a bitch. Our group of 4 was quickly overwhelmed by dogs and then multiple walkers, all sporting armour. Even using our ships to support the ground troops, we ended up retreating when the second wave of walkers showed up. Improved speed of airlock doors opening on freighters. This bad boy was needed, oh so badly. The airlock on the old freighters was utterly terrible. Longitude and latitude is now visible in the analysis visor. I think you'll agree the ability to pinpoint a location on a planet is pretty damn fantastic. You can now summon all of your ships on a planet's surface. No need to head to your freighter to switch, just use a quick menu to summon it. Scanning ships now shows their slot count as well as their price and class. This is rather handy and not as big as the other points in this video, but worth mentioning. Those damned whiplash plants now come with a warning, and that warning will serve as a contract on their viney faces. They will not survive. There is now a text chat for multiplayer, which is a great addition. Improved tree density? Oh yes, they are not lying. Planets now have forests, better than before. Remember those huge trees from the E3 demo? Well, now they have them in-game. Huge forests with huge trees. Yay! Improved water serves some foam shaders, improved water reflections to better match terrain. I must say the water looks amazing, and as Sword showed on his stream last night, you can even dip the wings of your ship into the water while flying. So cool. Which brings me to the true low fly. You can fly as low as you want to ground now for some very cool valley flying fun. Improved the beach blending and visuals. Yep, it's just better really. Beaches. Ooh. Added more varied underwater and underground objects. This one has been a big hope for me, specifically the underwater. I've yet to check it out when swimming for extended periods of time. I'd always been a little disappointed, so I'm really looking forward to going super deep in these new, even deeper oceans and seeing what's there. Though that'll have to wait until I've got the appropriate breathing tech, as all my previous underwater tech is now, well, gone. Improved creature pathfinding, improved creature response to feeding, herd behaviour for creatures. Some great improvements here, more unpredictable, more dynamic, great. New hazardous fauna, new hazardous flora. I can confirm this for sure. Some hazardous flora nearly got me earlier. Different ship classes use different amounts of launch fuel. My S-class ships all use 25%, so I can only imagine that this means low classes will use more, and as starship fuel is now a thing you need to craft, be aware of what your situation is, but it's not too bad, as before you can gather all the materials from a planet's surface. Increase the number of exosuit cargo slots available to purchase. This is something many have been asking for, more inventory space, and we got it. Also increase crafted item stack size in the exosuit to 5. This is a massive improvement to inventory management. It has hugely increased storage capacity of the exosuit's main section, moving the cargo's default use to more resources, which are still capped at stacks of 250 in the exosuit's main inventory. Ship weapons can be used against ground targets. Splash damage added to ship weapons when used against ground targets. The splash damage is a rather cool addition, meaning if you happen upon a group of filthy trolls all huddled up, plotting their next attack, you can shoot them all for huge damage and laugh as you fly away. Crit points on sentinel drones and quads. Sentinel drones can repair quads and walkers in battle. Improved quadruped behaviour, pouncing, evade. Improved walker behaviour with different attack modes. Extra armour plating added to sentinel arriving in combat. All of this leads to greatly enhanced gameplay when facing sentinels. They are far more challenging than before, and so more fun. So that is a whole lot of stuff, and it's about 30% of the patch notes. There's lots of other cool stuff in there, but before we finish, there is also a bunch of fixes and such that are worth hearing. Firstly, just a whole lot of optimizations, lots of them, which have resulted in many things including faster frames, at least for me and a bunch of folk I've spoken to, and new things like increased complexity limits, improved textures, and more. Fix certain cases where opening the settings menu silently changed resolution. Fixes for several uncommon out-of-memory crashes. Fixed transition between lighting when flying to space. Fixed and improved the number of situations for flattening terrain around buildings. Fixed cases where terrain tiles could be missing or slow to appear while flying around or into planet. Fixed crashed freighters having underground treasure too low to mine to. Prevented dead planets ever having atmospheres. Prevented some story-critical buildings being placed underwater. Fixed issues with loading some particularly large saves. Fixed for superconductive lock bug. Okay, we can stop there for a second. That superconductive lock issue was a serious one. It was affecting people with 500 or so hours in a save file and rendering their save almost unusable. Once it hit, it spread through the save like cancer. Every portal you charged up would have a single use and then be completely unusable permanently. All harvesters and similar technology just wouldn't work. I'm very happy this has finally been fixed, though I'm a little annoyed it took until this patch to do so. Fix for edited terrain regions repeatedly regenerating themselves unnecessarily. Another big one, this prevented the construction of my Batcave, my beautiful, beautiful Batcave. made numerous memory savings to improve overall stability, made the damage machinery turn off the sparks and smoke effect when you have finished the interaction, rebalanced AI ship damage, rebalanced ship to ground target damage. The rest is just those optimizations I was on about, so there you have it. An incredibly long list of exceptional changes and new features that essentially gives us a new game with all the best parts of the old. If you would like to read the entire patch notes with all the ones I didn't mention here, the link is, as always, in the description. Also, if you're a die-hard fan of No Man's Sky, just getting back into it, or completely fresh face, and are not yet subscribed, I'm going to be focusing pretty much all my effort for a while discovering every last facet of how this game works, and compiling all my findings into comprehensive instructional and informational guides. As well as that, I'll be streaming a lot, as I can't get all my info from game files alone. All of this, of course, takes pretty much all of my time, so any support is massively appreciated, whether it be through my Patreon, stream donations, or even just sharing my videos. We just got a whole new game to explore, folks, and that makes me very, very happy.